A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. A Farewell to Arms tells the story of Lieutenant Frederick Henry, an American ambulance driver in the Italian Army during World War I. He meets and falls in love with Catherine Barclay, a British nurse grieving her fiancé. As their love grows, Frederick becomes disillusioned with war. After a harrowing retreat and escaping execution, he deserts to reunite with Catherine. They flee to Switzerland, where their peace ends tragically when Catherine dies during childbirth. Left alone, Frederick confronts his grief. Hemingway explores love, war, and suffering, capturing the fragility of happiness and the inevitability of loss. Let's deep dive into the book. Frederick Henry's early life and role in the war. Frederick Henry, an American serving in the Italian Ambulance Corps, narrates his experiences of war and personal growth. Initially detached from the conflict, he views the war as an obligation rather than a passion. Stationed near the front lines, he interacts with fellow soldiers, including his close friend Rinaldi, a surgeon, and the priest, whose quiet wisdom contrasts with the chaos around them. Frederick's encounters with these characters reveal his complex personality, pragmatic, yet capable of deep reflection. The chapter sets the stage for his eventual transformation, highlighting his initial cynicism toward both the war and human connections. Frederick meets Catherine Barclay. Frederick is introduced to Catherine Barclay, a British nurse stationed nearby. Catherine is grieving the loss of her fiancé, killed in the war, and their initial flirtations are tinged with mutual vulnerability. What begins as a casual relationship evolves into a deeper bond as they share their fears and uncertainties. Catherine's resilience and warmth attract Frederick, though he initially approaches their relationship with detachment. This section explores their burgeoning connection and the emotional refuge they begin to find in each other, juxtaposed against the harsh realities of war. Frederick's injury and recovery. Frederick is wounded during a bombardment, sustaining severe leg injuries. His convalescence marks a turning point in his relationship with Catherine, who is transferred to the Milan hospital where he is recuperating. Their love deepens as they spend intimate moments together away from the front lines. This period is a respite from the war's brutality, allowing them to dream of a future together. Hemingway uses this section to delve into themes of love and hope as temporary escapes from chaos. The hospital also becomes a microcosm of human interactions, with secondary characters adding depth to the narrative. Disillusionment with the war. As Frederick heals, his perspective on war shifts, shaped by his experiences and others' stories of its cruelty. His disillusionment mirrors Catherine's skepticism, deepening their bond. Together, they dream of escaping war and building a life together. But Frederick's return to duty looms, creating tension and foreboding. This section highlights Hemingway's critique of war's dehumanization and psychological toll. Frederick's internal conflict between duty and personal happiness intensifies as he grapples with the idea of desertion, reflecting the novel's broader themes of moral ambiguity and the pursuit of meaning in an indifferent world. The retreat from Caporetto. Frederick rejoins his unit during the Italian Army's disastrous retreat from Caporetto. The chaotic withdrawal exposes the stark realities of war desertions, executions, and civilian suffering. Frederick witnesses the collapse of military order and narrowly escapes execution by Italian military police, who mistake him for a deserter. This harrowing experience cements his decision to abandon the war entirely. The retreat marks a pivotal moment in Frederick's journey, as he chooses personal survival and love over blind allegiance to a cause. Hemingway's vivid depiction of the retreat captures the chaos and moral ambiguity of wartime. Frederick and Catherine's escape. Frederick reunites with Catherine in Milan, and they decide to flee to Switzerland to escape the war. Their journey across Lake Maggiore in a small boat is fraught with tension, but they find solace in each other's company. Upon reaching Switzerland, they present themselves as tourists and are granted asylum. This section contrasts the chaos of war with the peace and beauty of the Swiss Alps. Frederick and Catherine's determination to build a life together reflects their desire to carve out a sanctuary amid the world's turmoil, though the specter of uncertainty looms. Life in Switzerland. Settled in a remote Swiss village, Frederick and Catherine experience a brief period of happiness and domesticity. Catherine becomes pregnant, and they eagerly anticipate the arrival of their child. However, undercurrents of anxiety persist, as they are acutely aware of the precariousness of their situation. Hemingway portrays their love as both a source of strength and a reminder of life's impermanence. This section delves into their intimate moments and dreams, offering a poignant contrast to the impending tragedy. The couple's idyll serves as a temporary escape from the external and internal conflicts that define their lives. Catherine's labor and complications. As Catherine goes into labor, their hopes for a new life are overshadowed by complications. Her painful delivery ends in tragedy when their baby is stillborn. Catherine's condition deteriorates rapidly as she hemorrhages uncontrollably. Despite efforts to save her, she dies, leaving Frederick powerless and devastated. Hemingway's unflinching depiction underscores life's fragility and the inevitability of loss. This section culminates the novel's themes, as love and hope are undone by fate. Frederick is left alone, confronting the void left behind, reflecting Hemingway's stark portrayal of life's suffering and the transient nature of happiness. Frederick's solitude and grief. The novel concludes with Frederick alone, walking back to his hotel in the rain after Catherine's death. Stripped of his dreams and the woman he loves, he confronts the void left by her absence. The rain, a recurring symbol throughout the novel, underscores the pervasive sense of loss and despair. Frederick's journey comes full circle as he faces the existential realities of life and death. Hemingway's minimalist prose leaves a lasting impression, encapsulating the novel's exploration of love, war, and the human condition. The ending is a poignant reflection on the impermanence of happiness and the inevitability of suffering. Let's meet together the main characters of the book. Frederick Henry, the protagonist and narrator, is an American ambulance driver in the Italian Army during World War I. Detached and pragmatic at first, he views the war with skepticism and participates more out of duty than belief. His relationship with Catherine Barclay profoundly changes him, providing emotional depth and purpose. Over time, he becomes disillusioned with the war's brutality and deserts the army to protect his love and their future. However, tragedy strikes as he loses both Catherine and their child, leaving him grief-stricken and alone. Frederick's journey reflects themes of love, loss, and the search for meaning. Catherine Barclay is a British nurse serving in Italy during World War I and Frederick Henry's lover. Initially introduced as a woman grieving her fiancé's death, Catherine reveals her resilience, selflessness, and capacity for deep love. Her relationship with Frederick becomes her anchor, and she is willing to sacrifice everything for their happiness. Catherine's pregnancy symbolizes hope amidst chaos, but her tragic death during childbirth underscores the fragility of life. She embodies themes of devotion and vulnerability, and her character's fate highlights the inevitability of loss that pervades the novel. Catherine is central to both the story and Frederick's transformation. Rinaldi, an Italian surgeon and Frederick Henry's closest friend, provides humor and camaraderie in the bleak setting of World War I. His flirtatious and carefree demeanor masks his own struggles with the toll of war. Rinaldi enjoys teasing Frederick and chasing women, yet his deep respect and affection for Frederick reveal his loyal and compassionate side. As the war progresses, hints of cynicism creep into Rinaldi's character, suggesting that his joviality serves as a defense mechanism against despair. His character serves as a foil to Frederick, illustrating different ways individuals cope with the horrors of war and personal turmoil. The priest, a minor but important character, represents faith, peace, and spiritual resilience amidst the chaos of war. Frequently mocked by the soldiers for his religious convictions, the priest quietly endures their teasing with humility and grace. He provides Frederick with thoughtful counsel and a perspective on life that contrasts with the cynicism of their surroundings. Through his calm demeanor and steadfast beliefs, the priest offers an alternative to the moral disintegration caused by war. His presence serves as a counterbalance to the violence and despair, reinforcing themes of hope and the enduring strength of spirituality in difficult times. Catherine and Frederick's baby, though only briefly present in the story, is a deeply significant figure. Symbolizing hope and the possibility of a new life beyond the war, the child represents the couple's dreams of a peaceful future together. Tragically, the baby's stillbirth during Catherine's difficult labor mirrors the fragility of their happiness. This devastating loss is a turning point, underscoring the novel's themes of loss, futility, and the limits of human control over fate. The baby serves as a poignant reminder of the transient nature of hope and the relentless power of tragedy in the human experience. Let's explore together the main themes and concepts of the book. The futility of war. A Farewell to Arms portrays war as a senseless and destructive force that dehumanizes everyone involved. Frederick's experiences, particularly during the retreat from Caporetto, reveal the chaos and brutality of conflict. Hemingway critiques the glorification of war by showing its impact on both soldiers and civilians. The loss of order, the randomness of death, and the moral ambiguity faced by characters emphasize its futility. Frederick's eventual desertion reflects his rejection of war's meaningless violence, reinforcing the theme that war ultimately strips away purpose and humanity, leaving only destruction in its wake. The redemptive power and fragility of love. Love serves as a refuge for Frederick and Catherine, offering a semblance of stability amidst the chaos of war. Their relationship provides both characters with a sense of purpose and hope, yet it is fraught with vulnerability. Catherine's pregnancy symbolizes their attempts to build a future together, but the tragic ending underscores the fragility of their bond. Hemingway presents love as a double-edged sword. It redeems and gives life meaning, but it is ultimately powerless against the forces of fate and mortality, which underscore its transient nature. The inevitability of loss. Throughout the novel, Hemingway explores the certainty of loss, whether through death, war, or shattered dreams. The death of Frederick and Catherine's child, and Catherine's subsequent passing, epitomize this theme. Their love, while profound, cannot withstand the inevitability of life's hardships. This theme is mirrored in the broader context of the war, where countless lives are lost and futures destroyed. Hemingway's portrayal of loss is stark and unflinching, emphasizing that suffering and grief are intrinsic parts of the human experience. Isolation and alienation. The characters in A Farewell to Arms often grapple with feelings of isolation and disconnection. Frederick, an American in the Italian army, feels out of place both in the war and in his personal life. Catherine, grieving her fiancé, also seeks escape through her relationship with Frederick. Together, they create a private world to shield themselves from the pain of reality, yet they remain fundamentally alone in their struggles. Hemingway uses their isolation to illustrate how individuals cope with trauma and search for meaning in a chaotic and indifferent world. Rain as a symbol of despair. Rain appears throughout the novel as a symbol of despair, foreboding, and inevitable tragedy. It often accompanies moments of significant loss, such as Frederick and Catherine's escape to Switzerland and Catherine's death. The recurring imagery of rain reinforces the novel's somber tone, serving as a metaphor for the relentless and uncontrollable forces of life. Hemingway uses this motif to underscore the fragility of happiness and the ever-present shadow of suffering, tying it deeply to the novel's exploration of existential themes and human vulnerability. Let's talk about the author. Ernest Hemingway was an American author and journalist, renowned for his distinctive writing style and exploration of themes such as love, war, and the human condition. Born in Oak Park, Illinois, he served as an ambulance driver in World War I, an experience that heavily influenced A Farewell to Arms. Hemingway's works, including The Sun, Also Rises, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, are celebrated for their emotional depth and minimalist prose. A Nobel Prize laureate in 1954, he remains one of the most influential writers of the 20th century, leaving a lasting legacy in literature. Sincere thanks for watching. If you found this summary helpful, consider taking a moment to hit the subscribe button, like or share the video. If you have any feedbacks or book requests, make sure to leave a comment. Regardless, I wish you a great day.